Now, the patients of a disgraced former neurosurgeon are considering a class action against NHS Tayside. A group of former patients protested outside of Ninewells Hospital in Dundee, the hospital where they were mistreated by Professor Sam Eljamel. They're calling for a public inquiry to look into why the doctor was allowed to practice after concerns had been raised and to learn lessons for the future.
You could see here the number of people that have been abused by this man. When I woke up from the second operation, I was totally blind in my right eye and partially blind in my left eye. So I wasn't really able to work. So I've been retired now for 20 years and I just reached my 66th birthday this year when I should have retired. And I've been retired for 20 years.
Well, joining me now is Jules Rose, who's in Edinburgh for us. She's a former patient of Professor Eljamel. And with us in the studio, Elizabeth Rose, a lawyer who has been approached by other patients too. A very good evening to you both. Thank you both for joining us. Jules, let me come to you first. Just briefly tell us what happened to you and what kind of impact this has had on your life.
Hi, yes. So I was diagnosed with a rare brain tumour, and Professor Eljamel actually removed the wrong part of my body. He removed what was my lacrimal gland instead of the brain tumour, and he lied and tried to cover up.
And how has that impacted you, and how is your health now, Jules?
Physically, my health is fine now. However, mentally, you know, I do suffer every day. It never leaves you. It's with you 24/7. And I was subsequently diagnosed with PTSD.
Well, Elizabeth, you have been approached, haven't you, by some other patients of Professor Eljamel seeking legal assistance. Just how do you think this class action, or it's called a group proceeding, isn't it, in Scotland?
Yes.
How do you see that progressing?
I think there's a huge amount of documentation to review. There's a huge amount of facts to look into. It's very, very early stages. It's very much about investigating, seeing what we can do for these patients that have been so incredibly injured and affected by these events. I think a public inquiry, though, is the priority to get to the bottom of things.
Yeah, what would a public inquiry do you think that what investigations have already taken place haven't achieved?
Well, I think a public inquiry would really get into the nitty-gritty of what happened. Lots of witnesses will be able to give their story. It will be able to go right back to the beginning of when he started practicing in Scotland and look at exactly what happened, how events transpired, and look at it from a clinical governance angle as well. And then it can make recommendations to perhaps improve patient safety.
OK, Jules, what would that mean for you? What kind of answers are you still seeking about your own treatment, but also just about the whole history of this particular doctor?
Well, yes, you see, Humza Yousaf is claiming that there has been adequate scrutiny into the whys and the hows of what's happened with Professor Eljamel, but that's not acceptable. You know, the Royal College of Surgeons conducted a review, but that was only into the clinical care of Professor Eljamel's conduct. So we haven't even touched on the organisational conduct of within the managerial system.
And what about a public inquiry? Would that help you, do you think, to move on?
Well, yes, of course it would. Myself and the 49 other patients that have now come forward, you know, to myself, we need answers so that we're able to hold some people to account in order to we can begin healing, our journey of healing.
So, Elizabeth, what happens now? What is the process? I mean, Jules just mentioned 49 patients, but how many do you think might end up being involved in the group proceeding? Have you any idea just now?
I mean, we're into double figures already. I'm being inundated with calls, emails, and the stories are just getting more and more horrific. And we've now uncovered possible deaths as a result of the surgeon's action, so it's as serious as it can possibly get.
Jules, have you found comfort in communicating with other people affected by this? Has that been a valuable part of this really difficult journey, would you say?
Yes and no. While it's comforting, you know, knowing that we're all united together, but it's also, as Elizabeth's saying, it's very harrowing for me. I mean, I'm talking nightly to patients every night and they're telling me their stories, and when you think it can't get any worse, it does. And, you know, for that, it's a bittersweet pill to swallow.
And NHS Tayside tell us that they are meeting with you, Jules. What are your hopes for that meeting? What would you like to hear?
Well, do you know, I've lost all trust and faith with NHS Tayside at the moment, so I'm really unclear as to why they want to come back and meet with me. I'm totally up for meeting with them. That remains to be seen when they will offer me this meeting. I've sent 4 emails. I'm still waiting on them coming back to me with a meeting date, as with the former patients as well. So I don't know. I can't say what I hope to gain from this meeting until I actually hear what they want to speak to me about, because I thought my former meeting that I was going to gain some closure, and I didn't. Sadly, I didn't.
Elizabeth, finally to you, is there much precedent to show that a group action like this is more successful? Is there strength in numbers, if you like?
Oh, absolutely, if there's a common theme. One of the common themes is wrong surgical sites, going in the wrong area. So yes, if we've got a pattern of behaviour, you know, we can perhaps prove more likely than not that wrong site surgery took place, particularly if it's happening over and over again to different individuals.
Yeah, and you also have issues about how much patients did know or should know about a surgeon's history as well. Well,
yes, because if a surgeon's under active investigation, should the patient not know? How can valid consent be obtained? These are serious surgeries, spinal, brain. I think you should know the full facts in front of you before you proceed to a life-changing procedure, potentially.
OK, well, we will hear more, I'm sure, in the months ahead about this, but we're grateful to both of you tonight for joining us on The 9, Elizabeth Rose and Jules Rose. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.